Peace, peace, y'all. Welcome back to the Klyph Notes podcast. This one it's really good. Yo, I've been working on trying to get this one for a minute, and I'm excited to share this episode with y'all. I had an opportunity to chop it up with a cat who's a friend of mine who I've been building with over the years. He's been putting in so much work out of Portland, and it's just dope to be able to sit and share stories and just in case you're not familiar, you're not aware, maybe introduce you to one of the best producers I know, for real. He's a songwriter and just a great artist, musician, engineer. So get ready for this next episode of the Klyph Notes podcast featuring my man, Tony Ozier. Support for the Klyph Notes podcast comes from Akepele Apparel, an idea born from a love of hip-hop, funk, and soul music and its surrounding cultures. With fashion being a huge visual part of the cultures, they've created expressive images to pay homage, invoke nostalgia, and showcase the elements that make up the lifestyle and cultures of these genres. Akepele, apparel for the music lifestyle. For more information, check out akepele.com. That's AKEPELE.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, the show you're about to listen to may contain explicit content. So guess what? You need to put them babies to sleep. This is for grown folks only. So we're not held liable for anything you might be offended by. Thank you for listening.
Yes. Y'all. You were listening to Klyph Notes podcast. Available everywhere you get your podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. And of course, you can check it out at klyphnotes.com. Big ups to everybody who's been rocking with us, man. I got to give a shout out to my people down in Southern Oregon. Big Wino, Lee Goddess. You know, all of the folk who not only support by tuning in on a regular basis, but also sharing the love, sharing the word. And then all of the people who rocking with us international, man. It's crazy to see the reach that the podcast has had over the years, man. And I see y'all for checking in. Big ups to y'all. Once again, man, big ups to the people who support us, XRAY FM, Akepele Apparel. Check them out, man. Support them. XRAY.FM. And then Akepele Apparel for your all your apparel needs. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, it's just good to be in this situation, as situations are kind of crazy right now. Just to be able to connect with folk, even though we can't connect physically, we have ways to do it. So I know I say this often when I do the podcast, man, but it's probably never more true than this one. This one has definitely been a long time coming. This is a cat who I've had an opportunity to build with over the years. I very comfortably say this is a friend of mine, a dude who's been super, super solid, and such an amazing talent. It's crazy to just be able to chop it up with him like we do. But this gonna be a really, really good one, man. So y'all need to pull up the chair and get ready, man. But without any further ado, let them know who you are, man.
How y'all doing? My name's Tony Ozier. I'm from a small town in Texas called Freeport, but I reside right here in PDX.
What's good with you, bro?
Not much, man. How you doing?
Man, look, I'm really good, man. Really excited for this conversation. Because like I said, man, this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, man. And it's just dope to be able to, chop it.
Man, they don't understand. We chop it like this all the time. We just never put it on a podcast. So
100%.
It's going to be fun.
100%, B. Yo, so it's always cool for me during these times to be able to reflect on like when I first get an opportunity to connect. So what I remember the first time that I had a chance to meet you, and I've been trying to remember the name of the venue, man, but you were doing, so I was just like, I was in Portland trying to connect with folk, trying to figure out who was doing what. And I started going to shows and events, and I saw this event and I'm sure at that point it was called the Dookie Jam. I think it was called the Dookie Jam. So I wanted to go check it out, and it was at a place, and I can't remember the place. It was something like, it wasn't the Hacienda, because I know where that is.
Calabash?
Yes, it was at Calabash.
Okay.
And so I went through, bruh, I didn't know you from Adam. I just came up to you and I was like, yo, woo, I'm doing stuff to try to support the scene. And you were like, word, come on back. You hit me with a couple CDs. Like, we're so, like, just so open and welcoming to me, bro. And that's like my first like memory of connecting with you. So it's always, it's been cool when I think back through the years, like how our relationship, like how solid our relationship is.
Yeah.
It just goes to show like just who you are, your character, man. That was so dope of you. But I say all that to say, you created the Dookie Jam as sort of as an invitational to local artists, man. So if people who haven't had an opportunity to like see it in person, what is the Dookie Jam?
Man, the Dookie Jam was really and a lot of people say I created the Dookie Jam, but the Dookie Jam wasn't just created by me. It was a few of us involved in that when it started.
Okay.
And we were doing it got started because we used to play shows, and then we had this rehearsal space on Ankeny, and we would like go there after shows at like 2 or 2:30 in the morning, 3 in the morning,
Yeah.
and would play till 5, 6, right?
Word.
Like just straight jam sessions, you know what I mean? And it wouldn't be nothing but like the band. It might be like 10, maybe 15 of us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we just kick it. And the opportunity opened up to do a jam session. Well, opportunity came up for me to get a night at the Calabash. I got a phone call from my man Danny, and he was like, yo, it's a Wednesday night open. You should take it. And I was like, all right. I didn't know what I was gonna do, but then I was like, yo, we should do the jam. We should do a jam session.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We always talk about jam session. We should do it.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, all right, cool. So that's how it got started. It wasn't like I was just like, yo, I'm gonna start this thing up and yeah, it wasn't anything like, it wasn't like nothing like that. It was just a straight vibe, bro. It was straight up like vibe.
Word.
And initially I wanted the homegirl to host it with me, but she didn't want to do it.
Got you. Okay.
So that made me the host. Because in the beginning, it wasn't a lot of people there, and it wasn't a lot of artists there. And like when we first started, like it took me hosting to get people to come up.
100%.
Because when we started, I was just like me, and like, you know, nobody else was really an artist really yet, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it was me, and then Liv would come through, and like she would do her thing, and then like as we started moving, other artists would start coming up because I started knowing artists. I started, oh, Black Butterfly, come here, boom, I'll put her on. Right. Oh, Reva, come here, boom, you know what I'm saying? Right. I just started seeing like artists in there, and I'd make them come on the stage.
Yeah, people just needed that push.
I was running out of gas. I didn't have anything else.
That dude said it was out of necessity. It wasn't no planning. I need a breath.
Man, but it seemed like all the craziest stuff happens like that, man. You don't plan. We didn't plan. We called it the Dookie Jam. It was fun, man, and it was a jam session, and like artists came from all over. Like literally we had Lady Gaga came to the Dookie Jam. Al B. Sure came to the Dookie Jam. Wow. I mean, like, it was musicians from like, I mean, we had a Dookie every week. So when the Blues Festival came, it was like, we're playing and they hear us playing because they in town in the hotels, and then they come into the session. So now we got all these different cats. The Lion King was at the amphitheater down the street. Yeah. All of a sudden, the whole Lion King cast started coming to the Dookie Jam. Like, these are videos. There's YouTube videos of all of this stuff. So like, it's crazy, man. So I don't know. It turned out the goal was that if we did this jam session, then musicians would get better. Therefore, the bands would get better. Therefore, we'd have better quality bands and music in town. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And man, what I've seen, man. Man, it's a lot of hot artists in town right now. It's a lot of good music going on in town right now.
Yeah, man.
I'm not saying we did anything with that, but I am saying there is a lot of good music happening right now, and it's crazy.
But I know it's got to be, you know, when you're in it and when you're a part of it, it is what you just described. It's just kind of what we do. We took advantage of an opportunity, and we're doing what we already do. And then I think sometimes looking back, it's sometimes difficult to see the impact that you have, and especially, you know, someone like you who I feel is fairly humble. You know, it's hard to look back and say, yeah, I had this impact on the scene, but like even without just the names that you dropped of people who were in the industry, who were known in the industry, you know, you can't help but look back and realize, wow, this was significant, and it's a part of the Portland music story, B, which I think is really, really cool, something to be celebrated. We talk about it a lot, but sometimes it's harder to put into reality, man. We got to give people their flowers while they're alive to smell them, you know what I'm saying? So I celebrate you and what you do, what you've done, and what you continue to do, you know what I mean?
Man, I appreciate it, man. Thank you, bro. For
100%, B, 100%. Yeah. So that's why I first got an opportunity to see you, and then just supported what you've done through the years. And I feel like it was fairly soon after that. So I had to pull it up right quick. So when I was there, like I said, you gave me a couple CDs. So you gave me Mental Candy, which was out.
Yeah, that's my first record.
Yeah. Dropped in 2006.
Yeah.
And then I think I feel like you had just dropped Oral Penetration.
Well, I was probably pushing it at the time. Yeah. That's what I was pushing for sure. Oral Penetration. Yeah.
So it was doing the radio. I was doing Welcome to the Neighborhood, was playing joints after that. Mm-hmm. And then soon, not too far after that, then Keep the Funk Alive came.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Bruh. That project. Like, if people haven't heard that one, so dope, bro. So dope.
Man, it was a fun project, man. I'm all about having fun with this music, man. That's what it's really all about. You know what I mean? And the Doodle Funk record, that was a fun record. Man, even performing that stuff was crazy, man. Yeah. Performing that stuff was just, it was wild.
Yeah. Well, and to me, it was amazing to me. I think it was a great example of your talent, not just as a musician, but as a songwriter as well, man. And there is so much to that, and the whole record. It's one of those projects where there's a little bit of something for everyone on that record, which I think is cool. And sometimes I think it's hard to do that. You know what I mean? When folks make records, but I think that there's something on that record for everybody. But you shared with me, like, that was a project that was it sort of evolved into what it became. It sort of evolved into a Doodle Funk All Stars record.
Yeah, it did. That was actually the record I was recording when I came here.
Got you.
So I was writing those songs. Like, I had wrote a couple of those songs before I got here, and then I started. No, change that. I wrote that album here in Portland.
Got you.
But I was writing it already, like, before we started working on it.
Yeah.
I was writing it already.
Yeah.
And so I was performing some songs off of it already with the band. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still remember, like, when I did Swagger, and that was like probably the first song that made me go, oh, we need to make this a record.
Gotcha.
'Cause I played Swagger. I got Soul P on it, Easy McCoy now. Yes, yep. You know what I'm saying? I got Easy on it, and bro, the beat slaps. Like, the actual beat that I did for that is a slap, bro. It's a slap.
Yeah.
And I played it. It was a whole lot of us working together at that point. So at that point, you got to understand the Lifesavers, Liv Warfield, the Doodle Funk, Gretchen Mitchell. It was damn near all just one band.
Got you.
So I think we was rehearsing for a Lifesaver show, and I played Swagger, and Muggs was like, oh, snap. And I was like, all right. Then I seen the homie, and I played it. I think I played it for Tyrone, and Tyrone was like, oh, snap. And then one day we had a rehearsal, and I walked in the rehearsal, and they was playing that shit. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was cussing. I know we were.
No, we on the podcast, so you straight.
Okay,
you
okay.
Straight. Yeah.
I walked in the rehearsal, and they was playing that shit, and I was like, oh, man.
Yeah.
So, you know, they looking at me like, yeah, this is a slap right here. We got to do this, Ozier. We got to do this. And I'm like, we throwing it in the show. Let's go. So we threw it in the show. We threw it in the show. And then, like, from there, it was like, after that, you know, Tyrone was the one. He was like, yo, man, we got to record that.
Yeah.
Like, we got to record that.
Yeah.
So I recorded it with the band, and the rest is history. I just started saying, skip it. As we started doing more of the new material I was writing and performing it, I was like, yo, we just need to do it as, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's how it ended up going, man. I ended up recording the whole album with the band. And like we wrote the rock tune together. So we wrote that as a band together. We wrote One of Them Days together as a band with like Mike Elson from The Excellent Gentleman, and Jeff Sex. You know what I'm saying? So, man, the Doodoo Funk is if you look at that credits, it's almost like a who's who in Portland, right? Yeah. When I look at it now, it looks like, I'm like, dang.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's one of the things that, like, that truly comes across. And I don't know, maybe a part of it was just being in that time and watching the different bands that were playing throughout the city, and then you'd see all of these names, just what you just described, all of these names sort of coming together and playing on one another's bands and this, that, and the third. You know, I remember seeing. I feel like it was at the Fix event, or I know it was at that venue, and Excellent Gentlemen were playing, and I feel like you was on stage. I mean, you'd see that, you know what I'm saying? You'd see people playing with one another, which was just so dope. Yes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. That's how it you know, it was a thing. The collaboration at that time was like incredible. Like, that was one of the things that made me like rethink my whole thing about Portland, because like the musical community and the collaboration within it was crazy. Because I mean, it took me a minute to find like black music here, man. I didn't just like stumble upon black music in Portland. It took me like 3 or 4 months to find it. And then it took me another few months before I even caught like Live. You know what I'm saying? So it was a process, you know what I'm saying? But once I did, and even before that, even before I found Live, I was working with like Rocket One, and Rocket One is a 1,000 dude. I can't put enough zeros behind 100 for him. You know what I'm saying? I can't put enough zeros behind that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it was, man, just the way people were collaborating here. I had just been in LA, Detroit, and Atlanta, and it wasn't like that in all of those cities at that time. So when I came here, it was crazy.
Well, it's interesting, B. I saw someone posted something I saw recently. I don't even know the context, but it was a whole conversation, and somebody made the comment, "Oh, you're making a comment based out of Portland, coming from Portland, Oregon," and something to the effect that doesn't count. That's the way that I interpret it. Like, you can't really speak because you're coming from Portland in terms of music. And it's interesting to me because I feel like you mentioned major cities that have an industry, that have had an industry for years, that has had a lot of international commercial success when we think about bigger cities. But there is so much talent here in Portland, and I've been here long enough now to see artists come and go, and to see artists like yourself who've continued to make music here in the city. But and I used to always ask the question, and the question is often asked, like, why isn't it that sound or that music or the talent level here in the city is recognized in places outside of Portland? And I look at it as two different things. One, like, maybe that's a blessing because it continues to be a hidden gem. But then on the flip side, it's unfortunate that more people don't know of it because it limits limits access, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
to people
Mm-hmm.
internationally. So as a working artist who not only does work here in the city, but like I know you regularly travel outside of the region, like
Mm-hmm.
what's your view on that in terms of people recognizing Portland? Is that of any importance for you as an artist?
It's not it's like recognizing Portland as the musical bed. I don't really feel like that's an important thing for me. But I think, honestly, okay, I'll give you this. I'm from Texas, right? I'm from like right outside of Houston, right? In Houston, an artist can go platinum in Houston.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Like an artist can go platinum in their own city.
Yeah.
How many artists here in Portland have gone 100,000 in Portland? Master P, he got a great deal. He's in Louisiana, right?
Yep.
He got a great deal because he went and took over New Orleans and locked it in.
Yeah.
Then he moved over, right? And went over to Houston.
Yeah.
Right? Locked in Texas and Dallas.
Yeah.
And then he came home, and every show he did at home, he had to do 2 or 3 of them.
Right. Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And we talking about major venue. He got to do 2 or 3 shows at the big spot, not at like, the 500 venue spot.
Right. 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He got to do 3 shows at the 9,000 spot, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
10,000 spot. I just ain't seen that here yet. I haven't seen like where now I ain't saying that there's not dope artists here. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I just haven't seen that kind of support from the town for an artist doing black music.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll just throw it out there like that.
Yeah. And it's tough because that's a sentiment that I have heard for years. And being someone who curates music in the city, it's tough because myself and folk like myself, Nuts has done the breakout show for so long. OG1. These are just people who are in my circle of influence, cats who have done shows on Cable and some of the other media outlets, have a desire to push artists who we believe in. But you're right. It seems like it only goes so far, and I don't know the answer to it. I would love to find the answer to it, because I believe so much in the art that is here in the city. But go ahead.
No.
But it's always interesting to me to get the perspective of, because I'm not an artist. It's always interesting to me to get the perspective of the artist, because I've also seen people who I think are very, very talented who've just walked away because they haven't gotten that support. And the truth of the matter is, I think artists make art for a couple reasons. One, because it is an expression of who they are. Two, because there is a purpose to what they're doing. And I want to talk a little bit more about that with the art that I feel like you make. And then third, because they have a desire to do it and be supported so that they can continue to do it. And when those things aren't met, it just makes people often walk away, which is really sad to me, because then I feel like, okay, those are messages that will never be heard. And it can be discouraging, I would imagine.
Man, it's interesting, man, because I can only really speak from my perspective on that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I do music for a lot of other reasons. You know what I mean? So for me, the ultimate gratification of that, I don't know if I'm looking for that, but I do love the fact that I love what I do. You know what I'm saying? And it's taken me a long time, but I figured out how to like support my family on it. And like, I always look at it like that. I always look at it like recognition. Okay, that's fine, but like, can I pay my mortgage? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
You feel me?
100%, yeah.
And I can, you know what I'm saying? Right. So for me, it's like, okay, like I can, you know, I figured out a way to do what I love, you know what I mean? And like, and make it work, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when you love something, like, I don't know, man, I just feel like when you love, it's like in a relationship, man, when you love something, man, you put in that work to keep it right, you know, to make sure it's right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And anybody that's married or in a relationship or especially long term, you know what I'm saying? If you've been in one for a minute, then you understand that it takes a lot of work to maintain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's how I take my craft. You know what I'm saying? I take my craft the same way, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. I'm always learning. I try to always stay in that mode of like learning new things, learning new music, new sounds, new part, because I'm an engineer, audio engineer as well.
Right.
So learning new, you know, engineering techniques, you know, EQ and compression, you know, making my mix tighter. It's always it's a continuous growth process all the time.
Yeah.
So for me, I figured out how to get all of that in it, man. And so I just, you know, I just try to stay in that creative mode, because I find when I'm not creative is when there's a problem.
Word up.
It's when I start having problems.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
100%. Because like I said, that's the part of expression. So, like you said, bro, you know, you and I, we talk like not even on like this stage, like we just chop it up. Yeah. And sometimes, bro, like we'll be talking about something, and I'll be like, "Yo, I heard this new joint by, you know, so and so, whatever," and you be like, "Oh yeah, they was just in town, they was in the studio." Like, bro, like you be having people just come through, man, like artists who I'm a fan of, who are just. So when you say you work, and the cool thing is that you don't like you ain't on social media like, yo, so and so's in the lab, this, that, and the third. Like you just doing your thing.
Yeah, man. I just, you know, I just try to work, man. That's it. And there's been a lot of people that have come over here. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I don't name them all, you know what I mean? But there's been some people that have fell through to the crib. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's been interesting, man.
And so that you know, I guess it's a dual situation, because I mentioned how to a certain degree it seems like people may not recognize Portland, but those who know absolutely know. And from an artist standpoint, they come through, which is dope.
Yeah, man. It's. I mean, dog, it's been cool. I had Master Ace over here a couple years ago. I had Primo over here a couple years ago. I had Ghost Note over here a couple years ago. Yeah, with Mono Neon, that was good, brother. I had only seen him in videos. Right. You should have seen me up in here trying to engineer and work. I'm like, but man, that dude Spud is nasty, man. Word. He's got a bunch of Grammys, and working with him, I learned a lot. Like just engineering his session, I learned a lot. Yeah. And that's what I love about, you know, working. Even like when I was working with, like, I didn't work with Primo. Primo just rented the studio.
Oh, word.
Yeah, he brought his own engineer. So
that's what's
you know, and but I got to sit down and watch him do his thing, man, and I learned a lot like that. A lot of the stuff I heard him do, you're starting to hear in my music now. You know what I'm saying? You're starting to hear it. So it's like I try to just take advantage and learn as much as I can all the time. Because as a creator, man, it's like, I don't know, man. I tend to be able to find inspiration in watching other people work as well. You know what I mean? So I like to do that. I don't get the opportunity to do that much, because everybody always want me to work too, but
no, but that's dope though.
I do like, you know, watching and learning, man. I really do, man.
That's what's up.
It is. I do.
I remember how it was several years ago when I came through the studio, and you had Kev Brown, who is
I forgot about that. Yeah,
like one of my favorite producers, one of the cats who I absolutely think of as hugely underrated. Element O was in town. They were doing their they were here on tour. And cats just fall through to just chop. I think Scarab came through. Yeah. That day as well. Man. So not to name drop, but just to say like when you work, people in the industry obviously understand your talent. Now, two things. One, So like I talked about seeing what you were doing with the band, and then I feel like let me pull it up now. I pull up the discography. I feel like it was after Keep the Funk Alive. Then the next year, you dropped Beats Galore.
Yeah.
So
Volume 1.
It's weird though, bro. It was weird for me because I sort of had an understanding of what you did. I thought I had an understanding of what you did as a musician. And then you drop a beat tape.
Yeah.
And then I learned that wasn't something new. Like, oh, let me just try. Like that's that's a part of what you do.
Yeah, yeah, man. Beats galore, man. People still trip off my email address.
So, like, but
and I got a lot of them too.
Well, because you dropped a couple of them, but was that something that you felt like you knew that you would do, or was it just another creative outlet for something that you that's a part of who you are?
Man, it wasn't something that was a plan. I'll tell you when it came up. When I moved to Detroit, I was living in Detroit, and the first like I literally got to Detroit, I want to say in like September, and that is right around, I'm dating myself right now.
That's all right.
But it's right around the time, I don't know if y'all have ever heard of Zoe, but Zoe is a part of Foreign Exchange. Zoe's one of my boys, that's my brother, right? And he was dropping his second album. All right, so his second album, he had already dropped one album. I remember he dropped the first album while I was in LA a couple years prior to it, and it was dope. And then he dropped the second one while I was there with him, and I played with him for those few shows we did for his CD releases. I did those. There's videos of those somewhere. And then shortly after that, 14KT dropped, I think, his first beat album, right? And so I was like, dang, like I'm talking to KT and I'm like, man, like, I remember one day I was like, yo, KT, you inspiring me right now. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, how am I inspiring you, dog? I was like, man, I'm like, I didn't know, because like at the time, like I didn't know he played.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like we did a track, we did Futuristic Soul.
Okay.
Together. Okay. So like literally we did that at my crib.
Okay. A
lot of people be like, who's Tony? I'm like, no, that's a beat me and him did together.
Yeah.
But we did that and I was just like, dang, dog, I was inspired, and it was an instrumental, and I was like, he put his thing out, Zoe had put 2 things out, and he asked me that question. I was like, man, you inspiring me because I never thought about putting an instrumental record out.
Yeah.
Like I just never thought that as an option. You know what I'm saying? Now I got 2 boys that are just putting out instrumental records.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All this time I've been trying to write songs to these joints. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now I got like, all these tracks and like a few songs, And so that's how I got inspired, man. So when I got here, like I was already kind of like putting that together.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? So I already had a few joints like Raising King. I already had Back to the Midden. You know what I'm saying? I already had I did Zane Slap Here.
Okay.
I got Tony Hill on the first joint. I did that joint. I think I did that joint before I got here, but then Tony Hill, I got her on it, and she introduced the album for me, which was dope.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the stuff was just stuff that I had, like, I just kind of had beats galore. I got a bunch of beats.
Yeah. And
I thought some of them were fresh and nobody had written songs to them. So I made that volume 1.
That's what's up, bro. That's what's up. So it's cool because it gives people an opportunity to hear some of the other things that you do, can really listen to what you do from that creative standpoint. One of the things that I always enjoy, and I love it when you send me like every once in a while you'll send me stuff that's unreleased, just some stuff that you've written.
Yeah.
But then even the stuff that you do release, man, I know I've said this to you before, but I have such a great appreciation for your pen, because the way that you write is, we talked about it before. We were talking about it before I hit record. Writing comes from life experience, and the way that you write, I feel, can be very, can be inspiring, can be motivating, can be conversation inducing, and there's a lot of depth to what you write, you know. Not to say that it's all heavy, but just thought provoking. Is that where does that come from you? You know, to write that way, to write in such a fashion that provokes those emotions, not just throwaway lyrics, man. Stuff that's got heavy content.
I'm gonna tell you something, Klyph. I be writing a lot of that shit for me, dog.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just be honest with you.
Yeah. I feel you.
I be over here going through it, bruh. And that's why I said music is an outlet for me. But at the same time, I'll say that as, you know, maybe it's an old school practice and belief, but I believe that as artists, we are the reflection of the time. You know what I mean? And, you know, so at the same time, I want you to enjoy yourself and have a good time. But at the same time, I think about the songs that I heard that made me think. You know what I'm saying? And they affected me, you know what I mean, in a certain kind of way. You know what I'm saying? Like when I'm having a shitty day and I get up in the morning and it's shitty, I throw on D'Angelo's Great Day in the Morning. Yeah. Why? Because it makes me feel better.
There you go.
To know, hey, it's a great day in the morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, you know, and so at the same time, I'll write music to like have fun, and I'll write love songs. You know what I'm saying? You know, I got to write the real shit too sometimes. Well, no, I just got to write it. I can't hold that part of it back. That's, you know, it comes out, and I try not to get in the way, man.
Yeah.
Like it's all vibe, and I try to just be a conduit, and whatever's flowing, I just try to get out the way of it flowing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't like, for real.
That's what's
up.
And
if that's what I'm on, like sometimes I'll be in here watching YouTube videos and making a track, and I'll be like, oh shit, a whole verse will come, and I have to stop the videos. I can't even finish making the track. I gotta cut the vocal because like when it comes, I don't want to get in the way, man. A lot of people, I'll tell you this straight up right now.
Yeah.
Wake Up is a freestyle, dog.
Word? Okay, if y'all haven't checked, Wake Up is you released Wake Up. This is 20. You released Wake Up like 4 years ago?
Yeah, probably about 4 years ago. 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Yeah.
Such a dope track. Such
freestyle.
A dope track. Wow, bro.
I freestyled the first half.
Yeah.
And then one of the homies came over and I played him. He was like, oh! And then I freestyled the rest of it.
I love
with
that
him
song.
Sitting right there.
I love that song. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I try to get out the way, man. And like when they come out, they come out. But I'll pin stuff too. Like I got other stuff, like the stuff we pin for Courtney. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like we write songs for her.
Right.
So, you know.
Right.
So it's like that's a different writing technique. It's always been harder for me to write for females, but like I like writing for Courtney, man. It's definitely been sharpening me up for sure.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, man, you have, that's one of the things that I've seen you do through the years is you work with artists creatively, sort of providing, I mean, from my perspective, because I guess we've never really talked about this specifically, but from my perspective, sort of mentoring artists, doing creative guidance for artists. I mean, that seems to be a part of something that you've done for years.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, you know what I'm saying? You know, whatever you decide to share, we can move on. You know what I mean?
Hey, man, I'm gonna tell you this. Let me clear my throat on this.
This Klyph Notes, baby. You know what I mean? It's what we do.
Nah, man. You know what, man? I'll say this, man. I understand now that maybe I was put here to help people. You know? And I don't know if I want to say it like that because that might seem kind of cocky or something, but because you know you can get burned helping people if the intentions are different.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I've always been one of those kind of people where if you come to me and say you have a problem, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna try to help you figure out how to get through it or solve it, or whatever we can do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've always been that kind of person. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna be that kind of person. I've tried to put that person somewhere else, but that's me, man.
Yeah.
I can't get out of that. That is me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But now I'm just very picky on how I do it.
There you go. But that's just life. That's growth. That's
yeah, man.
That's maturing. Yeah.
But there's a lot of records out right now, and there's quite a few artists in town right now that I've like literally written songs for. Yeah. Like literally written parts for. Literally written, like, you know. So that's what I as somebody who's trying to perfect the craft of writing songs and being able to produce. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It has all, you know, gotten me better. Yeah. And that is what it's really all about. At the end of the day, man, I do, like I said, I'll repeat this. I get to do what I love, bruh. I got the best job in the world, bruh.
That's what's up.
Like literally, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I get to do what I love, man. And so growing and learning and getting better is, you know, something I'm trying to be like Quincy, man. Like, you know, Muzz looking at me like I'm crazy, but my goal is Quincy Jones. That's what it's always been. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't tell a lot of people that, but that's always been my goal. Yeah. Yeah. You know? And I got a long way to go because I'm not going to be able to get over to France and study with that lady like he did. Like, I can't do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I guess I'll be learning till I go there, Klyph. You know?
And again, man, there are things that you have shared with me even from the creative process. Like you've hit me up with some joints and be like, yo, Klyph, I just got introduced to XYZ. And so I'm using it to try this. So I'm gonna send this to you. Let me know what you think. You've done that. You know what I'm saying? You've which I think, as you said, people get like if they listen, they get an opportunity to see that in the newer music that you put out, how it's changed because you have really studied the craft. And I think that's dope. I think that's important. I think that's valuable to continue to try to grow. So big ups to you, B.
Man, thanks, man. I appreciate it, man. I'm gonna keep. But yeah, man. I don't know, man. Hey, how long we got? We keep talking?
Yeah, man. We go a couple more minutes, B. We go a couple more minutes because I want to touch on. We talked a lot about where you've been. I want to talk about where you are and where you're going. So, you started, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it was the first of this year. You started Tony Tuesdays. Was it the first of 2020 you started doing that?
Yeah, in February I started Tone Tuesdays.
Okay.
Tone Tuesdays came out of a phone call from Young Wave Joseph.
Shout out to Young
Who's
Wave.
the Young Wave Joseph, y'all? That's the next one. We need to get behind him. We need to help him do 100,000 right here in Portland, dog. For real. Okay, now back to the story. Okay. Wave Joseph calls me one day and he says, Tone, you need to drop a single a week for a year, 52 songs. It's like, Wave, man, you're out of your mind, bro. What are you talking about, bro? I'm like, man, you probably about the only person I know that could actually pull it off. I was like, by the time I got off the phone with him, I was like, okay, if I do this and I do that and I do this and I do that, I could possibly do that. But that is a lot. Like, that's a mission right there. So I sat down with the wife, talked to her about it, and after we shedded it out, we shedded it out like, okay, we could do something, but what would we do? And I was like, well, if I'm gonna do it, then like I was gonna do to not give out too much information. Right. We decided that if I was gonna do it, I needed to drop the first round of songs. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So. Because I do so many different things. I could do 52 instrumentals. I could do 52, you know,
Yeah.
songs I got features with rappers on, get some guys over here, make a hat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's a few different ways I could approach it. But, you know, like I said earlier, sometimes you got to listen. You know what I'm saying?
They don't know, B. They don't know.
Sometimes you got to listen.
Yeah, bro.
And so it turned into like, I looked at a list of songs. I wrote down, hold on, I'll show you right here.
Tone up in the studio right now. Oh, he got the whiteboard. What?
I came up with the whiteboard.
Okay. Right. Tone ain't playing, yo.
I came up with the whiteboard.
Uh-huh.
And I started going. I was like, skip it, let's go. I did like the first 5 joints. I got them done and mixed and mastered. And then I was like, let's go. And so we at week 15 right now. I got 5 more weeks. These next few weeks are going to be real interesting because I'm sitting here right now with this session open, and I've been debating on this song on whether I'm going to trim it down because it's really long.
Okay.
Right. But when I wrote this, like, I was working on this album, and it was inspired by like some old school artists like Roy Ayers and George Duke and Quincy and those kind of cats, where they would just have wanted to combine like the instrumental side of what I do with the vocal side of it, but be on some like George Duke type vibes, you know what I'm saying, where it's not just all vocals, it's a lot of instrumental, it's vocals scattered. So I got this song right now, it's like 8 minutes and 20 seconds.
Bro, you should drop that in its entirety, B. You know what I'm saying?
No. No, I think, and that's what I just came to. I was gonna clip it, right?
Yeah.
And I was gonna cut it, and I was like, and I'm sitting here, and I was sitting up, and I was talking to my wife last night. I was like, yo, if I'm gonna be an artist, man, like, I shouldn't change my art. I should just, I'm gonna go back and repaint or cut my painting up and chop it up. Nah, when I wrote it like this. You know what I'm saying? On purpose. I didn't write it like this on mistake. Stop worrying about it. You're an artist. Be an artist, and drop the 8-minute and 20-second song. Yeah. Because the next song that's going to drop after that is 7 minutes and 49 seconds. So like, I'm having fun with Tone Tuesdays, man. It's one of the funnest things. I get to show, like, if anybody takes a listen to Tone Tuesdays, you'll get to see like, you just get to see kind of like all my vibes, man. I love all of those vibes. And
that's one of the things that I've seen. So I've had an opportunity to hear them all, obviously. And you do get a chance to see, because if people know you for Beats Galore, they get to hear a little bit something different. If they know you for the Do the Funk All Stars, they get to hear a little something different. So to me, that's what's cool, because every week you get to see, man, Tone could do that, Tone could do this, which I think is really, really cool. I would be remiss if I didn't say it was so cool to see a couple of weeks ago, I think now, the release that you dropped with Young King Theo, bro.
Man, that was big. That was on you too. I'll tell people I'll be like, yo, Klyph, you got to take some responsibility in that joint, man. You got to, because you told me about him.
Yeah.
And then like, I was trying to get somebody else to do that, and I just thought, I don't know, I think I was online or something, and me and Theo had like friended each other, and he popped up in my feed, and I was like, Klyph. I remember I called you. I was like, yo, Klyph, can you hook me up with Theo, man? He was like, yeah. And when I finally got with Theo, I mean, he was hyped and he was ready to go.
Yeah.
So he was like, you know, boom. He shot it back to me within 2 or 3 days. And then I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or nothing, but like, he shot me one and I shot it back to him in like 2 or 3 days. So like, you know, I got a joint dropping with Theo as well on his project.
Oh, he let me hear it. He let me hear it, B.
It's a dance record, man. It's like, man, it's fun, man. Yeah. And I don't get to do many dance records, man, but like that record was really like, you know, man, it's a vibe.
Yeah, 100%, 100%, bro, 100%. Well, and that's the cool thing, bro. Is that, you know, again, there are opportunities to connect the great talent in the area, and it's cool to see the conduits that are available when people. And it's funny, bro. Let me say, talking like as I was getting to know Theo, and he was sort of sharing his story with me and what his goals were and what he wanted to do and some of the things that some of the connections that he was looking to make. He came on Welcome to the Neighborhood, and we were chopping it off when the mics were off. And as he was talking to me, I was like, bruh, I need to connect you with Tony Ozier. And there are those opportunities here in the city, and I love to see when people take advantage of those opportunities in a positive way and build great art, which is what you guys did. And so I've said it, I'm excited to see, you know, what continues to come out of that relationship. So
hey man, that's the man, Theo. We got some things brewing, man. Yeah. There's some things brewing. But man, I like the joint I dropped last week with Rain, man.
That one was dope, bro.
Gosh. Yeah. And Rain is like, man, she's and she's part of that Wave crew, man. She's part of that whole crew.
And so you were telling me about that, bro, because I know of the crew primarily through Joseph, but you were like, Klyph, bro, you really got to get, and like such a talent, man. It's crazy that there is still so much talent as a curator in the city that I'm like, didn't even realize that this was here, man.
Hey man, these cats, they coming, man. I wish, like, they make me wish I was doing my thing so I could do them. So I could just throw them up on everything.
Got you.
Like literally, if I was having Dookie Jams right now, Miss Etta would probably be running it,
right,
and I would be having them on stage.
Right.
Doing their thing right now. But they performing already. Like Rain performs all the time.
Yeah.
She's a producer, singer, songwriter, musician, plays piano and guitar.
That's what's up.
She's crazy. She's the one that taught me Ableton.
Oh, word.
Like, I converted to Ableton after she came over and showed me some shit.
Okay.
You know, and that's the whole Wave crew. You know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to Wave and Kadrian and Amon and K Wicks and I mean, they deep, man. I can't shout all of y'all out, but the whole Wave Pro crew, y'all already know what's up.
That's what's up, bro. That's what's up. So that's what you're working on now. I know that there are some things that you have planned for the future, but I don't know how much you can or would like to tease. You know what I'm saying? Or should we just sit on it? Should we just sit on it?
Yeah. We're gonna sit on that one because
Okay.
Man, I just want, hey man, like I'm finally at a point. I feel like Tone Tuesdays, because it's starting to be a struggle. Like these last 7-8 weeks have been like, barely getting joints in on time. Yeah. You know, having to hit people to make sure they get dropped on Tuesday because I'm putting them in late.
Yeah.
You know, getting the masters, getting the mixes. Like it's been nuts, man.
Yeah.
But what I've gotten out of this is that I'm gonna be dropping, and I'm not done in 2020 after this 20 is over.
I love hearing that, B.
I'm not finished at all.
Yeah.
So
that's
I'll just say it like that. And I'm trying to do my ultimate album right now. So
word.
Yeah, man. I might not even produce on it.
What? Okay. All right. We have to talk when I turn the microphones off.
Yeah, when we turn it off, we'll have a conversation.
That's
but yeah, I'm on some shit like that, Klyph. I'm trying to I know if I did a record with these certain producers, me singing over their shit, I have never lost.
Okay.
I've never lost. And I feel like if I get a whole project with these cats.
Okay. All right.
Working on it, man. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm not all the way there yet.
Yeah.
But trust me.
Tony said trust. Hey yo. So if people haven't tapped in yet now after hearing this and they want to get caught up on the Tone Tuesday situation, how do they do that?
Man, so if you want to catch up on the Tone Tuesday situation, you can go to Spotify, and there's a Tone Tuesday playlist. If you just type in the Tone Tuesday playlist, it'll come up. It's the green colored Tony Ozier logo. You know what I mean? You just click on there, and it has all the up-to-date Tone Tuesday songs. So it has all 15 songs on there.
Word.
And then there's also a YouTube playlist of the Tone Tuesday playlist that you can also look up, and you can find it there as well. And you can also find me on all of your other platforms, as far as Apple Music, Tidal, Amazon, Google. It's out.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah, let's get them streams up, man.
Word.
Find your favorite song and bang it to death.
Word.
Bang it till you go deaf.
And then in terms of other ways of support, man, what else you got out there that people can tap into?
Right now, we just dropped a single last Friday with Sapasio Jones. That's Flight. Me and my writing partner, we produced and wrote that with her.
Word.
And it's a really dope R&B tune, man. It's getting some love. We just dropped that Friday.
Okay.
Miss Etta just dropped a joint. She's dropped, so during this Tone Tuesday, I think Miss Etta's dropped 2 joints. I think she dropped Transformation, which I produced for her. And then she dropped My Reality, which I also produced for her. Key to the City, my man Key to the City just dropped, he dropped Big Fun with a crazy remix from 14KT. Oh my gosh. If y'all ain't heard, oh man, that's my record right there, bro. I mean, I produced the original, but I'm sorry. I banged the remix, bro. That's what I bang. So,
Right.
But yeah, man, but it's dope. I got my man Square Busy down in Texas. We've been dropping a single, and we getting ready to drop a new single. Actually, me and Key to the City getting ready to drop a new single here in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
And also, me and Square Busy are getting ready to drop a new single as well. We dropped one last month called Posted in the South.
Yeah.
Dope record.
Been playing that for real.
Yep, and then boom. So then we got his next record, which is crazy, man. Oh man, woo! Square Busy's next record, man. It showcases one of my little homeboys at the crib.
Yeah.
And they got gas in the South right now, man. They got gas down there.
Okay. So
yeah,
bro, you got so much stuff that people can tap into, man. What's your like if people follow you on social, if they hit the website, like how can they keep up with all of this?
Man, just tap into my Instagram right now. That's where I'm really on Instagram all the time, you know, most of the time, more than I am on like Twitter or any other ones. But yeah, tap in on my Instagram. There's a Linktree link in the bio.
Word. And
you can just click on the bio. It'll take you to all my music. And then just, if you really want to stay up, just follow me on Instagram, man, because I'm usually promoting all the records I'm producing, records I've written, all that kind of stuff, man. So it's all about music and good times, man.
That's what's up. Look, brother, man, like I said, man, this was a long time coming, and it's so cool to just be able to chop it up and sort of look back, but then also get updated on what you're working on now, what's coming, and just let people know to tap in, man. I mean, look, bro, you know how much love I got for you, bro. I'm happy for where you at right now, and just happy to be in a position where I can support. You know what I mean?
Man, I appreciate you, Klyph, man. You've always been 100,000, bro, all the time. And I appreciate what you've been doing in the community since you got here. Because I remember when you first came too, and I see what you're doing now from when we was doing back then too. You know what I mean? So like, hey, much respect. Your grind is, hey, Klyph is really a grinder. He gonna get out here and get it. And hey, it's beautiful, man. Thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely, man. Tony Ozier, man, check him out all over the planet because he's doing good things. Real quick, man, we got to give some shout outs. Big ups to XRAY FM for their continued support of the Klyph Notes podcast. You can check out the podcast everywhere you listen to your podcast: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. You can also check us out on the XRAY FM podcast network. It's xraypod.com, or you can go to klyphnotes.com. Also, big ups to my folk at Akepele Apparel for their support. Check them out, akepele.com. Get your dope situation, man. They got some new gear they released recently, some new t-shirts, some new jackets, hats, everything that you need. Once again, check them out at Akepele Apparel, akepele.com. And last but never ever least, big ups to the homie Theory Hazit for creating the official theme song for the Klyph Notes podcast. All right, y'all. Be sure to check in. You can follow me all over the world at DJ Klyph at DJ Klyph, or you can hit me on the email at klyphnotes@gmail.com. God bless y'all, man. Be safe. Wash your hands. Until we have an opportunity to do this again, y'all be blessed. Peace.